Hello everyone! I'm in the mood for a Let's Talk Tuesday. Yeah, let's do Let's Talk Tuesday. So let's talk about rape jokes. Right, so recently there's been this tremendous uproar in the comedy world about rape jokes. This problem needs to be addressed because people need to be aware. And I'm not exactly sure how to go about talking about this because typically when I talk about it, it all kind of circles into one another. You'll see what I mean. The first thing I hear people say is, it's just a joke, but it's not just a joke, it's a trigger. What's a trigger? Well, you could look it up, or I could look it up for you. Have it right here on my handy dandy laptop. A trigger is something that sets off a memory tape or flashback transporting the person back to the event of his or her original trauma. By making jokes like that, in fact, many things could be a trigger, but basically a trigger can set someone off to have an emotional breakdown, meltdown. It could cause terrible emotional reactions. You don't know if it could set off a depression. It could set off cutting. You don't know what it could set off. You're joking about a traumatic event, and it can seriously affect people. So I recommend you don't do it. But how are they supposed to know that people in the audience have been raped? Well, statistically, 1 out of every 6 women have been raped or sexually assaulted. And I presume an audience is going to be at least maybe 50% women. So you do the math of the possibility that someone in your audience has had experience or knows someone with experience with being raped or sexually assaulted. Okay, but people aren't stupid. They know rape is bad. Actually, a lot of people don't. And that's a really dangerous assumption to be making. 1 out of 6 women, and the number keeps rising. That's a lot of freaking attackers. A lot of them like to call themselves accidental rapists. They don't call themselves that because they don't like calling themselves rapists in the first place. But you know what I mean. There's this big misconception that rape is always incredibly violent, which of course a lot of rapes are, but it doesn't always require it. There's a problem with a lot of people that they don't understand what rape actually is, and rape is as simple as non-consensual sex. When there is no consent, it is rape. If someone feels uncomfortable or pressured or blackmailed or manipulated or they're under the influence, don't touch people who cannot give consent. We live in a culture where women live in fear, and they are told that they should. Meanwhile, I guess, have completely given up on being able to change men, on being able to teach men what consent is, and to teach that women are not things, that they are humans. According to our culture, there's merely no hope for dumb men. And I think that's an insult to men. Men cannot be changed. Men are crazy hormonal dogs, and they're just gonna put their thing wherever, whenever, because they feel like it, because they are power hungry, blah blah blah. Dude, men aren't crazy animal monsters. They can learn things, but instead of being proactive and teaching anybody anything and trying to decrease objectifying material in our media that fucks everyone up, no, people cannot learn these things. Don't be ridiculous. So, because we cannot educate or evolve men, then we should just teach women to be scared all the time, and everything's their fault because they should know better. They should know the kind of world that we live in, and if they get raped, it's their fault. But we joke about traumatic stuff all the time, like AIDS and Holocaust. Right, but as I just mentioned, we live in a rape culture. It's a cultural problem. Jokes about the Holocaust and AIDS do not perpetuate the problem. That's the huge difference. Now here's the important part. Pay real close attention to this. If not anything else in the video, listen to this. Rape jokes perpetuate the problem. Rapists think all other people rape. They do not see that it's a big deal. They think everybody does it. And then they see how the world laughs at rape victims because it's so hilarious. Daniel Tosh among them, though he did give some kind of apology, I believe, when a woman exclaimed that she was a rape survivor and didn't find his rape jokes funny. She was walking out and he made this comment. Guys, wouldn't it be hilarious if 5 guys just raped her right now? You know who else thinks rape is funny? The Steubenville kids. These kids who saw a passed out girl, and in response, groups of people decided to rape her and pee on her and videotape her naked and take her around from party to party being assaulted. Then proceed to go on YouTube and talk about how hilarious it was that they'd raped her. This is not just one person. This is a bunch of people. They think it's really funny. So when mainstream comedians make jokes like this, they're like, hell yeah, it's funny because it's cultural. I don't understand how it can be more clear. We live in a culture where women live in fear and told that they should. It's not just the statistic, it's our environment, where victims don't even feel the right to report crimes because they know they'll be met with blame and hardly ever any justice. When they are attacked, they are asked, what were you thinking walking by yourself? Well, what did you do to provoke him? Were you wearing a skirt or were you wearing pants? You probably wouldn't have been attacked if you were wearing pants. So we walk with our keys in place of a weapon. We carry pepper spray and tasers and knives and guns. This is where we are in our culture. Women are scared and they are told they should be. And then they're told to laugh about it. Because it's like Hannah Gadsby said, being a woman is like living in a bad neighborhood. You're supposed to expect a break-in. Sidebar? That's actually a rape joke. Because when you want to make a dark situation light, aka AIDS and the Holocaust, you make fun of the culture, not the victim. So the point of this all is rape jokes are triggering and they perpetuate the cultural problem that we have. No censorship, yo. You have the right to say whatever you want. And I have the right to call you out on being an asshole with no regard for the repercussions of his actions or his words. Your words have consequences. To care or not to care, it's your call.